All right, welcome to the second lesson. This time we're going to start making the Arduino Blink S.O.S. Okay, now if you don't know much about Morse code, all you have to do is Google it and you'll find out all sorts of fun stuff. This is the first image that pops up, and I want you to look at these 5 rules, and here are the codes here for all the letters and numbers. Okay. Now, it uses a unit, so depending on how good you are, you could make Morse code go really fast, or you can go slower. And the unit is just whatever you decide is as fast as you can go. The unit is the length of the dot. Okay, then the dash is the same length as 3 dots. Okay. The space between the parts of the same letter is 1 unit. So in between these is the same space as the dot itself. So if I make this 100 milliseconds, then the space is 100 milliseconds, and this would be 300 milliseconds. Okay? And then when you go to the next letter, space between letters is 3 units. So the same as a dash. Okay, so if you wait 3 units, then that means you've gone to another letter, but you're still in the same word. So S.O.S. is considered 1 word, so we'll have 3 units between each letter. Okay, now as soon as you stop saying S.O.S. and want to say it again, then you have to wait 7 units. So 700 milliseconds. Okay, and so those are the basic rules. And because they use the word units, I want to use that same word in our program, so this will kind of make sense. Okay, so we're going to use what we call a variable, and let me show you what I mean by that as we do this. Okay, and right here. Okay, so we left off with just doing a regular blink. Now what I want to do is way up here, before we even get to the setup, we can teach the computer some vocabulary, or give it some variables and tell it what they mean. Okay, so we want to use the word unit instead of using these numbers down here. I want to say unit, use 1 unit or 2 units or 3 units. That way, later on, if I want to make my S.O.S. go faster, all I have to do is change 1 number up at the top. Okay, and it'll start to make sense as we go. So to tell the computer that we're about ready to tell it what a variable is, we have to tell it what type of variable we have. And one of those is a integer. So you say int. Now let's see if it changes color. That means it has to be lowercase. Okay, so int means integer. Now in your math class, you may have learned about it and then figured, oh, who cares? That's something I'm just going to stash in the back of my head and never worry about again. You're probably just itching, trying to figure out what did that mean. And it means a whole number. So no halves, no decimal places. It's just a whole number. So this is telling the computer that this will only be whole numbers used inside this variable. Okay, and just like it said in the on the internet, they used units. So we'll say from here on out we're going to use the word unit. And what does unit? What is the number for the unit? Well, we say it equals. Let's do a space just to make it nice and neat. 100. Okay, 100. And then now one very important thing is don't forget that. If you forget that, then it's going to give you an error. So don't forget the semicolon. So this is saying every time I use the word unit, it will replace it with the number 100. Now again, the benefit of this is if I use unit here and I do unit here, that means when I download it or upload it to the Arduino, what is it going to delay? It used to be 500. Now what is it going to do? 100, right? So let's upload it, and it should blink a lot faster now. And there it goes. So it's blinking a lot faster. So 100 milliseconds per blink, and then off for 100 milliseconds. So 200 milliseconds total, right? So hopefully that shows you how nice it is. So if I write the whole program and I use the word unit, I can easily change this right here and affect the entire program. If I would have typed in numbers and then later on my boss comes to me, or if I think to myself, oh, I wish I would have made that faster, you would have to sit there and go through every single number that you typed and change it. So the variable is a very powerful tool, and you need to learn how to use it. So basically, wherever you have a number, you should probably just change it to a variable, because most likely you'll want to use it later on. Okay. All right. So now, using that, let's go ahead and start writing out S.O.S. Okay. Now, if you didn't catch it, the S is 3 quick dots. Okay. And so we already have one dot here. Okay, so we're gonna kind of cheat and copy paste this. All right. Now we're gonna, before we do that, let's say unit right there. Okay. That way it's actually making sense. Okay. So we're gonna copy all that. We're gonna copy, and I'm gonna put my cursor there, hit enter, and let's paste it in there. Control V. I enter again, Control V. Now, what does that do right there? That does 3 quick blinks. Now, if you want to put little spaces between it, if you want to put little spaces before it, you'd have to put your cursor out here and do little spaces between them if you want to separate them out. Okay, so if you want to do that, you can. Just so you can be like, okay, this is a blink, this is a blink, this is a blink, and kind of separate that way. Or you can leave it as one big giant thing. I'm going to do a couple of enters to separate, because now I want to do another letter. Now, if you go back to our rules here, space between parts of the same letter is 1 unit, but the space between letters is 3 units. So now that we're switching to another letter, we need 3 units, but we've already waited 1 unit. Okay, so we want to, let's actually type it in. This will be fun. Okay, so delay. Now that it changed color, so we're good. So unit. Now we have, I'm going to point on the screen. Okay, so 1 unit is here, but we need a total of 3. So how many more do we need? We need 2 more. So, but instead of typing it twice, we can actually just say times 3. So use a little asterisk, a star for times 3. Close it up, and then don't forget the semicolon. So 3, 2. So 2 plus 1, there's 3. All right, so that gives us a space between letters. Okay. So now I want to do my long ones. Okay. So let's cheat again. So Control C and Control V. But this time, now that they're long ones, we need, when it's on, to be longer. So times by 3. Now, when it's off, let's look at it real quick. So there it is. So S-O, so it's the space between them is just a little tiny, same as a dot. So a dash and then just a tiny space, a dash, tiny space. So we need 1 unit between them, right? All right, so let's go back here. So this will be, whenever it's a high, we want it for 3 units. So we can actually, you could change that, but we're not going to do that right now. And right here, times 3, here, times 3. That right there will give me my O, okay? So I'm going to do another delay. I'm going to cheat, Control C, Control V. And what's going to happen now? What do we need? We need another S. So we can just copy this whole thing. C, V. So up here is our S. In the middle is our O. And here's another S. We need one more thing. And that is our space between words. Okay. And according to our rules, it's 7 units. Okay. So let's see. We already have 1 unit here. So how many more do we need? 6, right? So we can actually copy this. We need 7 total. We already have 1 right here. So we need 6 more. So this right here, this big long code would be everything that you need to make it say S.O.S. So let's double check it and try it. Verify right here, the check mark means to check it without uploading it to the Arduino. To upload, it will still verify it and then just straight away upload it. Okay, just so you know the difference between those. So if it doesn't upload right away, then there's a problem and it'll tell you what the problem is down here. So do we have it? That looks like S.O.S. to me. Okay, so that right there is how you would write it out in an extremely long, arduous way. This would be a super long program. If you were like trying to start, writing messages and stuff in Morse code, it would take you forever. You'd have a ton of copying and pasting, and you'd be like, where am I? This program is ginormous. I don't know what's going on here. You could put comments in that will help you, but there's got to be a better way, right? And that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so what we want to do is teach the computer what an S is and what an O is and what an S is. And just like we can teach a variable right here really quickly, we can also teach it, short programs and then reuse them over and over again. And just use a small command to tell it to do a lot of stuff. What I want to do, before we do that, I want you to see what would happen if I take this and I change it to like 75. Let's go super fast. If you're like super fast at S.O.S. at Morse code, and we upload that, you'll notice it'll go a lot faster. There it is. Okay. And instead of having to go through and change every single number, just one spot. Boom. No problem. Okay. Now, I wanted to show you one more thing over in this. The thing I wanted to show you guys was this picture here, and it shows a kind of cool tree that lets you see what each letter is. So, and it looks like it says dit, but it's actually a di, and this is a da. So a di is the dot, and the da is a dash. So if you just get one da, it's a T. It's a da, da, da. Then you have an O. So for the S.O.S. and the di, 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 is a S. Anyway, so because these are the terms that people use, I decided let's use those terms for functions. Okay, now what's a function? Let's go into that now. Okay, you ready? All right. So again, we can we can teach the functions up here before the setup. So we usually do variables first, and then if we want to use a function throughout the whole program, then we can do start out with the word void. Okay, type in the word void, just like they did for theirs: void setup, void loop. And void means it's not really going to give us back any information. It's just going to do something. So if you create a program that gives or grabs some information or figures out some math, then you tell it that it's you would start out with like int or something like that. Okay, so but right now it's not going to give us anything. It's just going to tell it what to do. So start with void, and then we're going to create the div first. So dit, and so that's the name of the function, and then you also do an open and close parentheses. That is for if you need to give it information to run. And we don't need to really give it anything. We're going to have everything already in it. So we don't need to do anything like that. Now, once you have named it and stuff, then you have to start out with a curly bracket. Now this curly bracket is just like what they use down here. So if you're like, how do I do a function again? You kind of look at this example down here, and it kind of shows you exactly what to do. Now the curly bracket, once you hit enter right there, it'll, at least this version of Arduino, it creates another closed curly bracket for you. Sometimes they don't, and you need to add it in. If you have an open, you better have a close. If you have more opens than close or whatever, you can have some errors in your program. So just be aware of that. And if I put my mouse on this one, it actually puts a box around the matching one. Okay, so it's saying, okay, this one's match is up above. Anything in between these two is the instructions to do a div. Now we already have it down here, right? We know how to do a div. It's a quick one here. All right, so we'll copy paste this up here. Doesn't matter where, as long as it's in between the brackets. Boom. Okay, so a div is just putting it on and off for a quick spell. Okay, now let's hit enter. Now let's teach you how to do a da. All right, so again, void, give it the name, which is da. Okay, and open close, and just like that. So just follow the examples. Boom. And let's find a dot down here in the O. We'll just grab one of these. And I'll come up here, right where I was. Actually, I hit double enter on the one above. Let's make it the same. Same spacing and everything, so they look the same. So we have a div, and here's our div, here's our da, and that's how you do a da. Now, it's gonna seem kind of scary, but I want you to go down to your void loop and just get rid of everything. Boom. All right. Now for S.O.S, what do we need it to do? We need a da, right? So we'll say in our void loop here, we'll just type in div. Now you have to also include that and a semicolon. Okay. We can do a copy paste here. Div. Now we need our delay between the letters, right? And so we just need a delay, right? Oh, did it wrong. It needs to change colors. Okay, so delay. And how much longer do we need? 200. Actually, what am I doing wrong? I need a unit, right? Times 2. And what do we need next? So, da, 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 da. I think that reminds me of a song. Okay. There we go. Da, da, da. And then what else do we need? Just another delay. Delay. And let's just copy this back down again. Control C, Control V, our best friend. Here's a little hint though. If you're using Control C and Control V a lot, that means you could probably make the job easier with a couple of programming tricks. And as we're going, I'm teaching them to you. So we're all the people out there who are watching this who've learned how to program are like, you're doing it wrong. I know. We're doing bit by bit here, okay? So just know that in the long run, this is going to become a really short program. And this may seem short, but it's going to be even shorter when we're done. Okay, so did it, and then delay 2 units, da, da, da. Delay 2 units, did it, and then we got to have our another. Oops. Control T. B. 7 total, so 6, right? Yeah, that should work. Now this is still blinking from the last time, so let's see what happens here. I don't want 50, that's too fast. So I can see something change. We're going to go back to the 100. Okay. And upload, see what happens. Oh, I'm good, no errors. Okay. Oh, it looks perfect. Okay, so it's blinking wonderfully and looking good. Let's see what else I wanted to do with you guys today. S.O.S. Yay. So there's a way to shorten it down even more, but we'll do that on the next lesson. This one's already getting pretty long as it is. So we'll call this one done for now. And you can kind of think about how am I going to make this even shorter, okay?